A new era for boxing on Channel 5 continues. Nathan Gorman faces Thomas Salick for the IBF International Heavyweight Championship, whilst Josh Kelly makes his return. Watch Britain's best prospects in The Big Fight Live. Friday at 9, exclusive to Channel 5 and My5.
This is Matt for Into Boxing. Delighted once again to be joined by Kalle Sauerland. Kalle, before we get into this boxing stuff, how are we?
I'm very well, very well. Nice to be in Liverpool, proper fight city, a lot of friends here, so very happy.
Terrific card, top to bottom. You've got Nathan Gorman, huge implications for that fight. Josh Kelly, the return of Josh Kelly after what went on before. Chloe Watson in Liverpool, the home city. Matty Harris after that knockout. What are you most looking forward to on this card? There's a lot of things going on. Yeah,
it's an interesting one because you look at it and say. When you look at the stories of, especially of Josh and Nathan, for Chloe it's like a homecoming. Matty, he's a heavyweight, he's staying active after that fantastic viral knockout up in Newcastle. But and it's funny how it's ended up that they both fought on the same show. We were going to have them separate, then we made it now a double header almost. And you know, they're both such huge prospects of UK boxing, in UK boxing, and if we look at the future, you know, there are a lot of big names that won't be around in a year or two, and this is the future generation, so they're vital, not just for us, but for boxing in the UK. So it's a big night. They've both been out the ring 15, 18 months, respectively, I think. And, you know, Josh has got the extra part that he's had to keep weight for the last 4 weeks, which is horrendous. You know, it's at the end of a hard training camp to have another 4 weeks added onto it, and we want to get him out quickly again afterwards. So that's a challenge in itself. But for him, it's about making a statement on Saturday night. And for Nathan, a statement's great, but we need that belt. Because that belt puts us in the top 15. Yeah. That's the mission to be accomplished on Saturday night.
The other day I spoke to Fabio Wardley, because obviously them two have been touted to fight, and he said that they've been called to fight, but only for Fabio's English title by the board. And I was like, a bit strange. I thought if you two are going to come together, surely it's going to be for the British. What are your thoughts on that? And is there any wiggle room if they both get through the next opponents? Will it be a case of going to the board? How's that going to work?
I mean, the Gorman Wardley fight's been talked about for a long time. I think now that Nathan's active, it's something that we can seriously discuss. But it's not be all and end all for me. I'd love to make that fight. I'd love it to be on Channel 5, big audience, be a great fight. But we've jumped over Fabio Wardley Saturday night if we go this way, because we will have that world ranking, and then, you know, they can box for British titles or English titles, and I'd like Nathan to have that British title, but an English title, I don't know, against Fabio Wardley wouldn't have, for me at least, the right name for it. Do you really even need a belt for it? Can you make for the IBF Intercontinental and say, but the winner's in the top 15 of the world? It's a nice one as well, but it wouldn't be in the forefront of my mind. I focus on Nathan and get that top 15 ranking in now, and move him.
Well, let's talk about Nathan. He looks in terrific shape today. I know we haven't seen him on the scales yet, but he looks to have, in terms of his stature before, obviously he's been a big man, but he looks to have really trimmed down. Are you expecting a more versatile, more mobile Nathan Gorman in there on Friday night?
He's 25 years old. I think he's finding himself still in terms of what's his best weight, for certain fights. You know, those things he will learn during his career. Yeah. And you know, he's 25. That's
crazy, isn't it? He seems to have been around forever.
He said it himself. He looks a little older, a little bit more mature, I would say. I hope Tyson's not listening. He looks a bit like a younger version of Michael, of Tyson Fury, but his cousin. But at the same time, no. Look, he's learning as well, and you know, the Dubois loss is something you'll learn from and get stronger from. I'm sure he's that type of guy, you know. And there's some where they, after a loss, they don't recover, but he's done exactly the opposite. I agree with what he said up there. The 15 months, if you look at it as a negative, I see it as a positive. He's working on it. You know, he was frustrated as hell. He was devastated when he was supposed to be on at Newcastle. He had to pull out there, and quite last minute. It was 10 days out with gastro flus, and those things happen. You know, but can't wait for Friday night and a big night on Channel 5.
Just a couple more from me. Anthony Joshua's committed his future to DAZN. I spoke to Adam Smith 2 weeks before. He was 99.9% sure he was staying with Sky, so I'm sure he wasn't best pleased when he found out the news. Any surprise from you when that came out that he was committing to him?
No, not at all. DAZN have really upped the numbers in terms of what they're offering for those sort of fights, and you know, it's a global approach as well, so it's a difficult one to compete with from a business point of view. I don't know the ins and outs of it. It wouldn't affect me personally, because whether he's on DAZN or Sky, I'd still watch it. So I don't know. Yeah, I think he's one of those sports personalities you'd watch if he was boxing on any platform. So I think DAZN has capitalised on that. Smart business, without knowing the business deal. But does it surprise me? No. And if you look at the history of boxing, the amount of people who jumped ship between HBO and Showtime and back over the years, Floyd, you can name them. So it's not new to boxing now.
And last one, Tyson Fury. He said he was retired. Obviously, it looks like he's made a slight U-turn, saying, "Pay me the money." Exhibitions, whether it be crossover combat. What do you make of that?
I ain't retired. Tyson might retire after a fight. He's had a hard camp, and he's a fighting man, and he's a fighting man who is getting better fight to fight. So I don't see him retiring. I saw some big numbers floating around today, and that normally is the first sign of negotiation.
Kalle, I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man, so I'll let you get off. Appreciate it.
Thank you, mate.